Welcome back, everyone. This is Politics Tonight. Thank you for staying with us on the program. 32 years after June 12, the big question tonight is, how is democracy in Nigeria? Dr. Tanko Yakasai, Director General Tinubu Support Group, is my guest tonight. Dr. Yakasai, thank you so much for staying with us on the program. Thank you.
Thank you very much for having me.
Right, so let's move on quickly. And with several conversations with elderly people who were key figures in the June 12 struggle, I mean, we got to know that merit and unity were what June 12 represented. But today, we've discarded them on the altar of ethnicity and religion, all thanks to Nigerian politicians. Our fault lines have widened so much that we may be swallowed by them if we do not do the needful. For you, what is the role of the political class in enhancing national cohesion and integration in Nigeria? What strategies do you think can help build the ethnic and religious divides in the country?
Yeah, I think the first thing that we need to understand is that when you are doing state building, it should also go concurrently with nation building. What do I mean? You know, when you are in government, and you run policies and programs to ensure that institutions are built and policies and programs are also rolled out for the benefit of all Nigerians. We should also look at the other component, which is cementing a relationship between multi-ethnic diversity groups in Nigeria, and that is what nation building is about. So the two must be seen to be going concurrently together, where we instill the patriotism in the hearts and minds of children, young people when they are growing, so that they begin to love the country. And the only way we can do that is that when you run an all-inclusive government, where people do not feel marginalized, everybody feels he's carried along and he has a stake in Nigeria. And that's exactly what President Buhari has been trying to do since the day he came into office in May 29, 2023, which many people don't seem to understand his vision. You know, when he won as a president, he said that he is going to run an all-inclusive government, and that's why he extended his hands of fellowship to other political parties other than only members of the APC. And today we have the likes of Wiki, who are holding ministerial positions in the government. People need to understand, why did the president do that? He did that to ensure that there is peace, there is harmony, everybody has a sense of belonging, not that the winner takes all mentality, which has been the case in the past. So you need to govern in such a way that everybody in Nigeria feels and have a sense of belonging and feels that the policies that you are doing should as meant to serve the entire country, not only some section of the country. So when you do road network that leads from Burning Kebbi or Sokoto to Badagry, you are doing a road that is impacting the lives of northerners across that border up to Lagos. When you do a road that is coastal from Lagos to Calabar, you are also impacting the lives of one or two or more regions in this country. When you go to eastern Nigeria and you do road networks, you impact the lives of people who are there. When you come to northern Nigeria and you also do that. So government and governance should be for the interest of everybody, irrespective of whether he belongs to your party or tribe or religion. That is one aspect of it. But it's not only the responsibility of government to do that. It is the responsibility of everybody who is a Nigerian that lead a section of this country. Religious leaders, traditional rulers, all have a role to play. Now, what conversations are we having in our own small clique, in our own small family cycle, in our own small community? Are we seeing that we want to contribute to nation building, or are we thinking that whatever comes should be for us alone? I think the conversation should move from seeing somebody in government as Yoruba, somebody from government as Igbo, somebody from government as a Hausaman. No, everybody who is in government should be seen as a Nigerian who is serving the interests of Nigeria. And this must start from our family values. If I'm in Kano, what conversation do I have with my children, you know, about a Southerner, about a Yoruba, about a Christian? It should be positive so that he grows up, my child grow up with that aspect of loving and kind towards humanity. If somebody is in Lagos or is a Yoruba or is in Abia, is an Igbo, what conversation is he having? Does he present other tribes as enemies, or does he present other tribes as Nigerians whom you have no option but to work with in diversity? So I think everybody has a role to play in nation building. Those who are in government and those who are outside government and their influencers, and also community and traditional rulers. So I think that's where it starts.
And I mean, interestingly or not, young people today did not experience June 12 firsthand. Do you think the younger generations truly understand the importance of June 12 and what it cost the country to get here?
Yeah, so the importance of June 12 is the fact, I think there are 2 or 3 importance or lessons that we learned. One, in a democratic setting, we had Amikio Abiola, late Amikio Abiola, whose life and legacies have had impact across the entire country, irrespective of tribe, religion, and ethnicity. And when he came to contest, everybody in Nigeria supported him because they saw him as a true Nigerian, as a nationalist, somebody whose benevolence cut across his regions, cut across other regions and other tribes. And so when he became a candidate and came to contest, he had overwhelming support from South, North, every nook and cranny, because nobody saw him as a Yoruba man. People saw him as a Nigerian who had done well. That is one aspect, which is something that we should take away in that struggle, that there is a time in Nigeria where people voted on the basis of the personality of the person who is on the ballot paper, and they saw him as a patriotic Nigerian. The second one is the fact that the military, at that point in time, did disservice to Nigeria by cancelling one of the freest and fairest elections that has happened in this country. And Nigerians were resilient. They resisted, but of course, because it was a military era, there was nothing they could do more than resist, continue with the struggle until the return of democracy in 1999. But the unity at that point in time towards ensuring that the mandate returns to late MKO Abiola was unanimous, was across the country. So I'm saying that it was a unifier in this country. It was a cementer of relationship. It was a diluter of diversity in this country at that point in time. And I think that is one of the significant lessons that we should hold on to and moving forward in Nigeria, that let us vote on the basis of the person, not where he comes from or the color of his skin or the background.
And because you've gone there, Dr. Yakasai, which would also lead me to my next question. MK Abiola's electoral victory was one, that cut across ethnic and religious divides, championed the rights to equality and non-discrimination, that as an electoral victory that showed that true democracy is about inclusion and respect for all identities. How would you say our fundamental human rights are being protected in Nigeria?
Yeah, I think, from that time till the 1999, fundamental human rights were trampled by the military junta. But with the coming of democracy in 1999 and the gradual maturity of democracy in Nigeria, I think fundamental human rights of Nigerians are being protected, fundamental human rights of Nigerians are being guaranteed, and in fact, it is more so in this current administration of President Buhari, where people have the right to air their views, where people have the right through social media to create even fake stories and then spread it around, and then they wish that they still get away with such kind of fake stories, even though there is a responsibility to somebody who creates a content and ensure that he pushes into the society. Nobody has been harassed, nobody has been arrested, nobody has been tried. If you hear a lot of fake news that is circulated on social media, a lot of incitement going on in the social media, these are attempts to give and protect the fundamental human rights of people, of Nigerians, but people are abusing it. And I think it is not right. We should be responsible. We should have the love of this country. We should be patriotic to ensure that you don't share something that has no truth or fact to it. So those are part of the fundamental right. I feel that it has been guaranteed, and people will protest on the street. Nobody will harass them. Students will come out and challenge their institutions. No military or police going to the campus to harass them. So I think the opposition are coalescing, meeting in coalition, and nobody has going to stop them from doing their meetings. So I think the fundamental human right has been guaranteed, and especially by President Buhari.
Right, and I asked you that question because before now the conversation was that the beneficiaries of the struggle for democracy have not executed any strategic plan to ensure that those who fought the military should and must be encouraged to implement those visions they had under a democratic dispensation. Today, President Bola Tinubu, a key figure in Nigeria's June 12 struggle, is now president, one of the Big Ten, as identified by late Frank Okori. What does this mean for democracy and the spirit of June 12?
Yeah, I think the beauty of the coming of President Bola Tinubu is that many a times heroes don't live to tell the stories. But President Bola Tinubu, who was one of the leading members of the June 12 struggle and pro-democracy struggle, has lived enough, and God has crowned his effort by becoming the president of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. And it is because of his antecedent, it is because of his experience in that struggle that many things that are, that are happening in this country now, and the way President Bola Tinubu has democratically addressed some of those challenges without using coercion, without using the instrument of state, I think are because of his antecedents, because he knew the struggle he went through, the battles he had with the military junta, and he had to be in exile. So I think now that a champion has become the president of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, he is trying as much as possible to ensure that what he fought against does not happen under his watch. And that is why today, as a president, he had allowed a lot of positive engagement. He has allowed people to exercise their right. I see even comedians, who on stage will crack jokes about his character, and he will just laugh about it. So I think it's good to have a champion of a pro-democracy movement in power, because he is now ensuring that democracy takes root in this country. And
2 years into his administration, what are your expectations of him in deepening good governance in Nigeria?
Pardon?
What are your expectations of him in deepening good governance in Nigeria?
My expectation is that, one, as a democratic president that we know him, he will ensure to continue to deepen democracy. One, by ensuring that all the arms of government are independent. Strong institutions are formed so that they will be able to function even when President Bola Tinubu finishes his second term in office, because the only way you can succeed as a leader is to build lasting institutions. Institutions. And that's exactly what President Bola Tinubu is doing with all these reforms that are taking place. The tax reform is to ensure that our institutions are in place that will guarantee inflow of resources into the country, ensuring that the tax regime is foolproof, no pilferages, no wastages, centralized, and then efficient. It is the same thing he's doing with political parties having the right to exercise their fundamental right. It is the same thing he's doing with the judiciary, where the judiciary are independent, and then they hold their decisions and their verdict without any coercion. It is the same thing he's doing with the National Assembly, where the budget is taken to them, and then they vet the budget of the executive, and they pass it, and then he accents to it and ensure that it is implemented based on the availability of resources. So these things that he's doing are deepening democracy, and I expect that President Bola Tinubu will continue to do that, and then also ensure that electoral reforms continue to take place and take effect, so that we will continue to have smooth transition from one regime to another, ensuring that education is available to the downtrodden, ensuring that agricultural sectors are also supported so that there will be food sufficiency and food security in Nigeria, ensuring that the health sector is also revamped in such a way that people have access to insurance so that they can have care at the time when they need it, ensuring that security is guaranteed, ensuring that the economy is robust, there is enough resources to run the government, ensuring that there is no wastage. So these are the things that will deepen democracy. And these are the things that President Bola Tinubu is doing, and I expect him to continue and even do more, so that Nigeria will be a solid democracy that will last for more than 100 or 200 or 300 years in the future.
So if we're to focus on our judiciary, our police, and our democracy, the controls and institutions needed to make democracy work, are these elements on trial? That's like the recent question on the lip of so many Nigerians recently. Because some concerned stakeholders have also said the law currently bows to political interest instead of the other way around. How true is this?
Can you come again? Sorry.
Did you get that? All right, I want us to focus.
No, I didn't get.
Right, I want us to focus on our judiciary, our police, and our democracy. These are the controls and institutions needed to make democracy work. Are these elements on trial, Dr. Yakasai? Because some concerned stakeholders have also said the law currently bows to political interests instead of the other way around. And I'm asking, how true is this?
I think it's not true. You see, in Nigeria, when you take your case to the judiciary for adjudication, if it meets your aspiration, you say judiciary is just. If it doesn't meet your aspiration, you say the judiciary is unjust. And you know, in the judiciary, I'm not a lawyer, but I know that what happens is fact speaks for itself. And if you have a case before the judiciary and your lawyers present it very well, argue their case very well, the judges will make their own verdict based on the facts available to them. And people sometimes go to these courts ill-prepared or without strong evidence and hoping that by some level of magic wand, the verdict will go their way. So I think we need to ensure that every time we have cases before the judiciary, our lawyers and ourselves ensure that enough evidence is provided for the judiciary to be able to make an informed verdict based on fact, based on evidence. So I think that's what's mostly happening, where people expect that they will win a case. And the surprising thing is that, you know, one thing that's happening in Nigeria, which is not so good, is that there will be a case that is being adjudicated, you know, in the court, and people go to media houses every day to discuss what their lawyers said, what the other lawyers said, and this will be the likely end of that is the likely verdict at the end of the court adjudication. People go to the radio houses and discuss cases that are before the judges, and expecting that they will get a verdict. And when they get contrary, then they claim otherwise, that there has not been justice. So I think that should stop. If something is adjudicated in the court, people should hold on and wait for the verdict, rather anticipating the verdict, and when they didn't get it, they will blame the judiciary.
All right. So one final issue we must talk about tonight is our election. I mean, there's been concern, or there have been several concerns raised over continuous decline in the quality of our elections, despite reforms introduced beyond mere election funding. Another point to pay critical attention to is ensuring that more people turn out to vote on election day so as to avoid waste of funds. And I mean, if we're to go by statistics, for the 2015 and 2019 elections, the country wasted over 62% of election funds due to low turnout of registered voters, and that's over 250 billion naira. So as we work towards electoral integrity, what workable measures must we adopt to ensure that more participation despite the continuous increase in the number of registered voters? Dr. Yakasai.
Yeah, I think, you know, it started with the military taking over, and people have lost confidence in democracy because the military ruled for a very long time. And when democracy came back, people did not trust that the military will really hand over and go back to the barracks. So it takes time to build confidence that when you do election, the election will not be, democracy will not be truncated. So over time, if you have analyzed some of these results and voter participation, you will see that out of the total registered voters in Nigeria, hardly do we get 50% in the past. It's a gradual process, it's increasing. And also, you know, we politicians sometimes contribute to voter apathy. Why? Because people who are in opposition, when they do go around campaigning, they tend to heat up the polity in such a way that people find it difficult to freely come out on the day of election thinking that there will be violence. So I think that, moving forward, if the 2027 election as it comes closer, elections are, and parties conduct themselves in such a way that election is healthy and the process of campaign is healthy, no violence, no intimidation, I think it will encourage people to come out and vote. Secondly, by the time the full result or impact of policies of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu comes to bear in the next 1 year or less than that, there will be a lot of confidence in the system that people want that continuity, and then you will have greater number of voters coming to vote. And then also INEC have to do a lot, and parties mobilizing people to vote, mobilizing more people to register who have come of age. So I think these are the strategies to follow to ensure that there are more voters registered and more voters coming out on the day.
In 30 seconds, Dr. Yakasai, just to wrap this up, what advice would you give to Nigeria's current and future leaders about balancing national interest with democratic ideals? In 30 seconds.
Nigerians should please think of the country rather than themselves. In our conversations with our family, in our conversation in the community, let us be patriotic. Wherever we are discussing politics, let's discuss it based on patriotism so that people and the nation, Nigeria, will become a greater nation in this country. Let us drop our own parochial interests. Let us not ensure to fuel features or divisions along ethnic, religious divides in this country. Let's discuss issues when we come to politics, and let us not discuss parochial and mundane issues that will divide us further. That's my own take.
Very instructive way to end the program tonight. Thank you so much for joining us, Dr. Umar Tanko Yakasai, Director General, Tinubu Support Group. Thank you so much for your time on Politics Tonight. Thank you. Have a great evening.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Right. And thank you very much for watching, everyone. That marks the end of today's episode of Politics Tonight. But before we go, let's tell you that the views and reactions of our resource persons are theirs and have no connection with TVC News. Meanwhile, you can watch the repeat broadcast of this episode at 12:30 a.m. Get in touch with us on our social media handles, Facebook, Instagram, and X at TVC News NG and at Olajumoke using the hashtag Politics Tonight. We're also on YouTube at youtube.com/TVC News NG. I am Olajumoke Olatuji. Good night, everyone.